I keep seeing people saying, like, in Canada that are on the conservative sides, being like, you guys are the reason we fucked up this country. You let the liberals ruin it. Now we're dying. Everyone's moving. Everyone's homeless. Everyone's leaving. No one's investing in Canada. That's just not even true. Because the fact that people are coming here is fact. People are investing in Canada. It's not just the people that you want. And then on top of that, you get mad because you see Trump said that Canada is by far the worst and hardest country to deal with. And they go, most of you are going to blame Trump for that instead of blaming your own fucking clown of a government that you guys voted in. That's what they're going to say. That's what they did say. Here's my input. We weren't that hard to do deals with before, you know? Trump is a master at swaying the conversation. And the worst part is it works. Like he's salty that he couldn't take our country. And now he's salty that he can't do business in a Republican way with a liberal. It's like, why are you surprised? We're at two different sides of the political spectrum. And then you're wondering why we are struggling to do deals. And then on top of that, you say you should blame your own government instead of Trump. Why would we? So you just want us to all be mad at each other? Because that's what Trump wants us to do and it's working. That's not even like accurate. And I get what you mean, but if you think the conservatives are going to do better, just the same way that the Trump fans said that Trump was going to do better. He hasn't done better. There's been more divide this year than ever. And if Trump wasn't in office, then there would be no problem with doing deals with the states. And then on top of that, if he wasn't in office, then we wouldn't be arguing that we have to follow what the states do. Because I don't know if you've noticed, like, life can suck in Canada, and but it's worse over there. It's worse in so many ways, especially if you're in the worst parts. It's like, and I get that, like, Canada's GDP, gross domestic product, the total monetary value of all finished goods and services produced within a country's borders over a specific period, typically a year or a quarter. Okay, and I understand that ours, okay, the cost of living and the cost of buying and owning and renting and all of that shit in Canada, if you look at our richest province, is still poorer than the poorest state as far as like the cost of living, the cost of wages, so I get that, but there's far less struggles. Now if you're in like the main cities of Canada, that's a little different and you're more on par with people in the States, but that's still only a fraction of what the States is. And that's what I don't think that people understand. They say it's so much better over there. Well, then fucking move there. Do what the Indians did. Since it's so much better over there that you hate. Like, you hate that there's people from India coming here and there's people from every other country coming here. And all you talk about is how America is better. So then go to America if you think that Trump is fixing everything, you know? Because that I think would work for you, you know? Like, in the same way that people from other countries are coming here because they prefer it here. Like, I don't get it. And then they say the fucking foreigners, they're ruining everything, you know? Like, they pay so much in taxes, dude. And I understand that means we have to divvy more, but overall, the more people here paying taxes, the richer the country is. And that's why places have gotten better, you know? I live in a small town and it's only ever upgraded my whole life. Like, and the cost of living has gotten higher and there's way higher population now, but everything keeps getting better as far as like business, as far as like just like it's just evolving. And so no matter what government is in charge, we got to do better at like paying people who have always been here, and like paying people not a minimum wage, because just the title of minimum wage is a kick in the face saying that I will pay you the bare minimum possible. Like, and if it wasn't for that law, it would be even less. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate that. But what's the alternative? Someone like Trump, right? That's what you want. And then because he's made it so much better for everyone, right? I mean, he definitely didn't make it better for a lot of people, maybe just people on the Republican side, but I don't even think he made it better for them. I really don't. I just think they like the slogans and shit he says. That's someone I can stand behind while the fire is going on. instead of actually making sure he's doing shit. And then, there is someone like Kamala Harris, the one who no one looked into and said that they didn't like the way she talks, and they didn't, as if Trump has a great voice, and they didn't like that she is pro-choice, which is like the most even thing you can be, like neutral. People act like she was like forcing people to get abortions. Like she's just like, no, you should be able to choose if that's for you or not. Whereas Trump was like, I want to control your bodies out of the word of God, even though he's not religious. And then as a man, you'd think that would come across even worse than a woman saying it. But a woman saying that you should have the right for women rights, like you'd think that would come across more, but I guess not. And they say she didn't have enough experience. She did do a lot of work. She was a lawyer, you know what I mean? Like, and you know the law. So I think every single president should have to be a lawyer or should have to be educated in that field, because I get it. Trump has made a lot of money in his life, and he knows how to make money. And people are like, yeah, like we can be rich like Trump. Yeah, we can be rich like Trump. And this is the same thing I fear with Carney. So you can say whatever. I'm not on a side here. I'm just fucking spitting my honest truth. Is like Carney comes from the business world and the banks. And now who has ruined the world? What is the root of all evil? Money. Okay. So he's a banker. Trump's rich as fuck. They're like, yeah, that's who we need. Someone who knows how to like do that for us. And it's like, no, because they're good. When you're a rich person, really rich, you're good at taking money from the bottom and putting it to the top. Because what head of a bank ever gives a shit about anybody? And that's what I feared with Carney. You know what I mean? And then I also feared with like Pierre that he was a little bit too power hungry, just like Trump. And so it's just like, you don't know. I can compare them both to Trump in different ways. And then Trump, if you want to look at Trump in the same light as Carney, it's like, yeah, what out of all of his life getting rich, how many times did he try and save the world or save people or donate and care for the betterment of all and care for, I mean, I guess I get it. He doesn't care about the world. He puts America first. But when did he care and give to Americans, you know? He ran casinos, which is like, is in all fun and everything, but that's just a negative. And then that's where the rich get rich and the poor stay poor, and like, and you feed on like their brokenness. And it's no different. Like you, like the world was like, yes, let's take the guy who runs all the casinos and make him the president instead of a lawyer. It's interesting because what is he doing? I still don't know what he's doing that's good other than like ripping people apart. And so it's like Canadians are watching that in the States, and in the same way that I said that, like, they feed on your brokenness and that, like, your will to like will do anything to get rich, and that's like go to the casino, fucking try like anything, playing the lotto, fucking gamble your life, you know. That's the desperate times, and I think that's just what he's doing. And Canadians, they see that ICE is going in and they're fucking supposedly, well, we're cleaning this up, we're fixing it. And there's two different people that see that, and they're like, you're just tearing people apart and ruining lives and causing trauma and everything. And then there's the other people who are just like, yes, finally some guidance, some change, we're getting rid of criminals. And it's like, no, we're not. And when did you ever trust the police or any piece of government, you know? Because I know damn well in Canada, like, little on ICE, if you took police cars and put them everywhere, everyone hates that, you know, unless there's an actual emergency. And there's no fucking emergencies. These are children and mothers and fathers and that I'm seeing. Yeah, they got a couple criminals. They also got a couple fucking innocent people. And so that's not cool. And so Canadians see that and they're like, in that brokenness that I described, the desperateness, and they're like, that's what we gotta do. We gotta get rid of them all. That'll fix it. That'll solve all our problems. Get rid of these people. We don't need them. We're better than them. But do you know how that sounds, dude? Do you know how ignorant that sounds? Just because you were born here, you think you deserve everything here, you know? And I'm sure that's how the natives felt. But theirs was justified. Because we came here and destroyed everything. And then rebuilt. acted like it was all good. We covered so much shit up for years, and then now it's surfacing and we're trying to act like we love each other. But that pain was justified. This pain isn't, because it's not the same. No one's coming here and just doing what Europeans did back then. They're just coming here to live and try to get away from that kind of shit that happened to the natives, that's happening in their countries and shit. Like, they want to get away from those boxes, and that's what I love about Canada, is we're removing boxes, but there's so many boxy ass people who still live here. And if you live by a box, I'm like, why don't you just be fucking homeless and live in the box? Because most of the people who are talking about, oh, there's homeless this, there's fucking foreigners everywhere, most of these people aren't fucking homeless. And I've never been homeless, and I've never had to walk the streets in a fucking country that is not only more toxic than our country could ever be, but like, you know, like, I don't know. I also think that a lot of Canada had kind of lived in such a small bubble for so long that like it's just erupted and they don't know how to handle shit, because Canada was always the second biggest country in the world and always had a pretty small population. You know, when you can put everyone from California into Canada and it like doubles the population, that's crazy when you just think about that. And then you got also the nerve to kind of like be ignorant enough to, I don't even know if it's just ignorant or if it's privilege or if it's just closed-minded, you know, just living in such a bubble that you don't really realize how blessed Canada was for so long to kind of be able to be tucked away in this nice little bubble, you know, because we're a spacious, big-ass fucking country with only one state's worth of people. And we have the nerve to talk about population problems. I say that the government is doing something very wrong, though, as far as, like, paying people and, like, having more jobs and stuff like that. And, like, resources, because we have so much land and we don't have enough houses and, like, all that shit doesn't make sense. But to get mad at people for moving here when every other country has way too many fucking people, but yet you don't see them complaining as much about population because they're used to it. And we're over here in our bubble, and then we have the nerve to be like, no, we deserve this bubble, not you. And I get that it's like, it's not necessarily racist. It's not necessarily this or that. It's more so just like selfish, I think. Like, it's just, it's narcissistic. It's putting yourself first. And you'll make it sound better even by saying it's putting your country first. But you really don't care about country as long as you're satisfied. Like, that's most people that I see who think that way. And then I'm like, okay, I get it that things have changed, but I also don't understand why it bothers you so much. And then on top of that, I'm like, I don't know, this is what I always grew up with, so maybe I'm just numb to it all. And like, you also want Canada to keep up with the rest of the world. Meanwhile, we had the least amount of people and like not enough resources, and I mean, shit, we have all this land, so much land. You know, people talk about town and my deer in the town and stuff, and they're like, if you zoom out, all around town is woods for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. You drive the highway, look how many woods there are. There's lots of woods. And I understand we gotta worry about the trees, but there's a shit ton of trees and there's a shit ton of places for wildlife. And so all I'm saying is we still need to produce houses with these fucking trees and produce, like, we need more giving and making and with the shit that we have, but we can't go back on basic human rights just to do so and just in hopes of doing so, you know. We can't go, we can't oppress people and hurt people and take people out the country while doing that. We just got to do it, because at the end of the day, you just want everyone to be safe and happy and have a house and make money, and all sides want that, but there's problems in between. All these little fucking problems that they make laws and they make things that people want to hurt you over, like abortion or like gay rights and the LGBTQ community and pride and all this shit. Like, they make all that political when it's just like, that's just types of people and preferences. None of it hurts anybody. Like, for real. I guess you could say, you can argue that abortion does, but it's like, man, that's not you. Let them do what they want to do. And if they're suited for it and they know themselves and they know they're ready, they'll do it. If not, they won't. I just don't understand wanting to control everybody so much. You shouldn't be controlling anybody, just yourself. And by doing that correctly, everyone will be treated better. I mean, you can't change people. That's like a given fact, and depending on which way you look at that, you know it. They have to want to change themselves. So you're not going to change everybody. But I don't understand how everyone else isn't that open-minded to just allow everyone to do what they want to do as long as no one gets hurt and as long as the government is giving opportunity and doing its best to make everyone here okay. I don't know. All these little problems, all these little things they add in there, and they throw them in different sides of the political party, and they let that tear apart what we're voting for, because it's like, oh yeah, maybe I'd vote conservative because I agree on, the housing market or something with the conservatives. And so, but then I'm also siding a lot of the time with a side that, especially with the states, because it's more proof. Because you look at the states and you're like, they did that. I don't know how to explain it. Like, let's say if I support the Republicans because I feel like they're going to bring more houses, okay, but then I also have to support the side that doesn't want abortions and wants to kick people out of the country and wants to go back on equality a little bit and like get rid of gay rights and stuff like that. So that's wild. But if I support like the Democratic or liberal side, it's like I might be somehow broke forever only with them. I don't know. I feel like I'll be broke forever with everybody. Like, it's partly on you, partly on all of it, but because I don't think Trump really cares about people, or any of them really care about the bottom levels. Like, think about that. You think they do, but they don't. I think that's more up to you as an individual anyway. Trump ain't gonna do that. Pierre ain't gonna do that for you. Carney ain't gonna do that for you. Trudeau ain't gonna do that for you. Kamala ain't gonna do that for you. Nobody's gonna do that for you. No one's gonna give you a house and, give you a job or like give you money, and like no one's gonna make it easy for you. And so I'd rather not side with the side that tends to even not only like spark up those kind of things I mentioned earlier, but actually act on it. And then I'd rather side with the side that at least is okay with those things and progressive with them and moving forward, but somehow still has a shitty housing market. And so I'm split, because I can't take 10 steps back and hoping I'll take one step forward, but I can continue to take steps where I see people caring more about, humanity. And the government needs a switch up. As far as like human decency and human rights and all that, I'm more on the liberal side. And so, yeah, I feel like guys should be able to say, yes, queen, or whatever the fuck they want to say. You should be able to be whatever the fuck you want to be. Express yourself however the fuck you want. That includes being a good Christian. That includes every religion. That includes every kind of person you can find, because none of them are any more valid than you or me, and none of them are any less valid than you or me. I know that hurt people, so I just want you to know that's never going to be the answer. And no matter what, if you look at history, all the different types of control, all the different types of oppression, all the different types of like wanting things to be clear-cut, black and white one way, has only been a downward spiral to what we have today, which is a fucking mess of opinions and all this bullshit. There's so much. That's all that is. It just gets nowhere. It's fighting, it's arguing, it's controlling people. You can't do that. We're free spiritual creatures in every sense, and any religion, any kind of deeper thought of life and death and afterlife and what you think is out there and God and all of that shit is all spiritual, because you have the mind to envision it, and you have the mind to create it, and or just witness it or believe it or have faith in it. And that alone is spiritual and beautiful, and the things we can do as humans is it's so beautiful. But yet we assume the worst of everybody, and oftentimes the actual worst people are the best liars and the best, fibbers, because no one really cares about each other. They're selfish, and I can admit to it myself. I'm selfish. I act more about my best interest, because you have to look out for yourself. But as far as treating others, and when I do come across others, and when I'm a good person, I might not go out of my way all the time to do things for people, but I never do wrong by people, So, and I never take away from people, and I never judge people. And anytime I feel like I fucking hate it, and it's like a little knife in the back, and I'm like, fuck, why'd I do that? Or why I caught myself sounding like an ignorant piece of shit, or I think solitude does this. I think a lot of people don't get enough solitude. I think solitude is really, I guess you could say, it makes or it breaks you. I think it did break me for a while, but it made me, because they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I was only broken, I wasn't dead.